This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement.
Hey, what's going on, Respect My Blueprint Nation? Welcome to another dope episode of the Respect My Blueprint podcast. As you guys can see, I'm super excited today, man. I have a wonderful guest today. I am going to cut the intro short because I want to utilize every minute I can to be able to go ahead and have a fantastic conversation with my guest. My guest here, guys, listen, if you are a business owner that's been dealing with obstacles, dealing with setbacks and crisis and wondering, man, why so much things are happening to me? You need to pause for a second because my guest today, he's a Ukrainian in the country of Ukraine. And guess what? He started his business in response to the actual warfare that they are experiencing over there. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So unless you've been living under a rock, you obviously understand what's been going on in that region of the world. We are going to hear from an entrepreneur who started off from nothing. He's been able to make a great journey for himself. So we are going to hear from someone that is going to teach us how to overcome obstacles and challenges. And I'm super excited about today's conversation. So without any further ado, I want to go ahead and welcome my friend, my guest today, Alexandr Korshykov. How are you doing, Alexander?
Fantastic, and thank you so much for this beautiful introduction. I will try to do the best to share my experience and my philosophy that people understand that everything they can do wherever they want.
Yes, because it's, we've had a conversation prior to this, and the conversation we had was so extraordinary, so inspiring. You shared with me how not only what your country is going through, how you started your business, your IT business and your computer business in response to the invasion, but also you started it with only $100. I remember our conversation. I understand and I have a inside knowledge a little bit. So if you could share with the audience, first of all, share a little bit about your background, your expertise, so that sets the stage for our conversation.
Yeah. So to be honest, I'm so young. I'm 25 years old. Now I'm running the company with 30 people full-time job. My company focusing on the UX UI design. And about my background, I started in IT area maybe 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. So I started my journey from the sales manager, and my expertise just not in the technical area. I'm more the guy who know how to negotiate, how to make negotiation, and how trustful partner, honestly. So that's my background, and I think this is my strong side. Sure, I have a good team which responsible for delivering, but I don't have any co-founders in this company. I just started this company from zero. I'm one owner, and so that's my journey. That's about a little bit me, about my background and what I'm doing now.
Perfect. I mean, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys, so no co-founder, 25 years old, the founder and CEO of DreamX. And you started this company, no tech experience, right? Or anything like that.
Now, of course, now I understand something.
Right.
I think that I'm the last designer in my company. I'm not so good in designer.
So you started this with your company, if you could say. So your company mainly focuses on
Design.
Web design, UI, which for those who don't understand what UI means, that is the user interface, right?
Yeah, we are in my company. We're focusing on the user experience, user interface design. So we do mobile application design, CRM system design, ERP, web application, websites, etc. Everything around digital startups, we do design for them.
Perfect. So, and you started this company with literally only $100. That's it. And $100 and a dream, right?
Yeah, 100%, because I didn't have any money. I didn't have any investment. I didn't know how to get investment, honestly. That's why I had just my investment to be so funny. Yeah, my first investment, it was to buy subscription on freelance platform to find potential clients. So that was my first investment.
Man, if I'm not mistaken, in a very short amount of time. First of all, so you started this company around
In Russian,
20,
2022, if I'm not mistaken.
2022.
Yes, in 2022, the latest 2022, yes, when Russian.
All right. And now you are you are projected to generate over $1 million in revenue in such a short amount of time, right?
I push my team so hard and push myself that to have this result, because we plan so much in my company and we hope to get this goal. I do all my best, but this is so difficult, honestly. But we are pushing. Yeah, we are pushing. I'm working a lot of. Before this conversation, I jumped from the call with my client and I said, sorry, I have to go back.
So you're always working, and of course,
I also relax, and Saturday, Sunday, I don't work. This is important for me. But if I have working time, I'm very efficient, very productive, and I can have sometimes maybe per day 20 calls, 22 calls I can have. Yeah, sure.
Nice.
I start early and I finish late. And I think after this conversation, I will have one more call with the guy from New York. So yes, a lot of work.
Us being as founders of our own company, you know, we have to lead by example, right? So in order for, if you want your team of 30 to be able to be efficient and put maximum effort, they have to see the leader doing the same thing. So I completely agree there. So before now, I want to go ahead and talk about not only you're a self-made entrepreneur, but if you could share with the audience, what was the reason, what caused you to start this company? Because if I'm not mistaken, 2022, well, that was the year of the quote unquote invasion with
yes. Yeah, I want to tell you about that. It's very interesting. So I remember when I was younger, in my childhood, I always wanted to be independent. This is such important. So I wanted to be independent. And when Russia invaded, I did a job not in my company. I was working in IT company as a salesperson. And when Russia invaded, the company a little bit destroyed because everything destroyed in Ukraine on the local market. It was crazy time and challenging time. So I understand that the right time never happened. And I understood that this is the right time to start work. And quickly, what can be interesting in this journey, when I started, I had my first client. He was the financial guy from the Greece, and we did financial reports for him. And the stories looks like I had the first client. This client understood that we are Ukrainians, and he wanted to support us, and he gave us advance prepayment for the whole scope of work, and said, Alex, I want to support you, support your team, take money, prepayment, and make a great job for me. So, and I called designer and I said, hello, I have money for 3 months of work. Please, let's work together. It was my friend. I have salary for next 3 months for you, but I will try to do the best, not just for 3 months. I will try to do the best to invest this money and to make it more clients and more money in the future. So in general, I sitting on the west of Ukraine because I left from Kyiv in the first couple months of the war. I left on the west. I'm sitting and I understood that right time never happened. I bought subscription on the freelance platform. Then I find that some potential client, he wanted to support us. He gave us full prepayment. I called my friend, the designer, and said, I want to hire you for next 3 months, but I will try to do the best that I will have more work for the future. And from this company started, I would say.
Wow. So
in general.
So to be honest with you, you wasn't even sure if the company was going to be successful or nothing. You got that first client that prepaid you, and then you hired your first employee, and then boom, and then you took it off from there.
Honestly, with my experience, because I had some experience of the sale process,
right?
And it was important for me. It was a great jump. It was a great experience, because I understood how to negotiate and how to find potential clients. This is important, of course. That's why I understood that I can start my company and it's going to be successful. And I'm running still now this company.
Even so let me ask you, Alexander, because you could have started.
I was 22, if it was correct.
Oh, you was young. You was a baby. Okay, so let me ask you now, because You could have started this company anytime. You could have waited maybe a year or two after the war started, or you could have started maybe a year or two before the war started. Why
Sure.
was it right when that situation happened? Why then? Why,
I will
what
tell you.
caused it? Yeah.
I have one funny philosophy which I follow in my mind, and this philosophy says, where the smart person see troubles, the some crazy guy can see opportunities. So this is my philosophy which I follow. So honestly, I understood this is the right time to hire some people and find potential clients because a lot of people wanted to support Ukraine and a lot of people lost the job.
Oh,
So I understood
good.
the
Yeah.
stress time. Honestly, it was very stressful.
Yes.
But in
Very.
general, I understood that I can take a risk and try to make something. So that's why I'm still crazy. I'm still see opportunities on some time.
That's so true because, I can't quote who says this. There's I think it's Warren Buffett if I'm not mistaken, but he said Warren Buffett has this belief when there's turmoil and there's blood in the water, that's when it's best time for opportunity. It's like the stock market. When the stock market goes down, that's the best time to buy.
But honestly, not everyone can make decision in this time.
Yes.
It's difficult because all people speak. You can buy properties in the crisis, but please buy it. Let's make decision.
Right. Right.
And nobody can make really right decision in this challenging time. So I understood that no chance to do something. Let's start.
Man, so and I love what you said that when times are challenging, that's actually the best time to take risk
And make decision
and
is
make
important.
decisions. Yes.
A lot of people can speak about it. Can I take a risk or no? I think you have to take a risk because if you're real, the crazy person and entrepreneur, you have to take all your risk in your hand and say, okay, let's move on.
Love it. I love
That's
it.
my philosophy, honestly. I'm following this philosophy since my childhood. So that's why in such a young age, I'm doing something and I know how to, I have some experience now.
Oh man, and you are brilliant for this
Thank you.
approach because to be honest with you, and I'm not saying this because we're doing this episode. If I was in your shoes, I would have that same approach because you're right. At that moment, you knew the world was going to support Ukraine as much as possible, and you also knew that your countrymen would be in need of a job. So it was the perfect opportunity to be able to go ahead and be creative and create something to be able to go ahead and start the business that you wanted to. And now the crazy part, I want to say that makes you crazy. You only had $100, right?
Yeah.
Normally people would have a savings account. They would have money or things like that. But you went with literally almost very, very small amount of money and started this business. So I want to say, man, that is a tremendous. Well, let me ask you, was there any part during the start that you was worried or that you had reservations or scared?
Honestly, now I'm more scared, but I don't like it. No, but because I'm my company work with a lot of early stage startups. Okay,
Right.
so I see how they usually think. They think I have to make a pitch deck, so
Right.
much project presentation, then to find some clients, some investor, and blah 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 blah. People have to understand that you have to rush and make it work and make decision, do a work, make something, not just to think or preparing or make a lot of Google Docs or Notions, etc. You have to start work and pushing, and very important to focusing on the right things. My suggestion and my advice to the early stage startups or some early entrepreneurs, it's important to focusing on the right things. In my opinion, in first year of the company, you have to run, push, sale process, negotiation, make whatever you can do, everything to have more money and make decision, not just to preparing something, because this is, I think, the most important. So I didn't scare about something because, as I mentioned, I didn't have any chance to worry about something.
Right.
I just had the passion. I understood this is the opportunity, and that's I launched it.
And
Then I
took advantage of. Wow. So which I have a follow-up question. My first question is, can you give us some examples of some of the early crisis or the early challenges you had when you first start up? I know you mentioned besides money, but what's some of the early challenges you had experiences when you first started?
I would say too many challenges. First, you have to planning your work. If you do not plan something, you will lose everything, in my opinion,
Yes.
because you have to plan money, sale process, marketing, and honestly, in the short period of time in the companies, money is not the first challenge. It's
Yes.
next challenge. It's hire people, make a structure of these people. Who is manager, who is worker, etc.
Right.
How you work. So I had so much challenges because in the first half of year we had some clients, so we had some money for the work. But the next challenge it was hire people, hire HR manager, hire sale manager maybe, or potential clients. How to find it? So then you have to plan financials because you don't have a lot of money. You cannot make a like funny decision. You cannot make random decision. You have to plan your financial because you have to live also. It's important. You have to rent a flat, you have to eat. So it was my time.
Wow.
Some people says that I'm crazy. I can say I, I think this is crazy in my mind is my power, I would say, because I know how to live in the stressful situation and how to move. All of my people in the company know when we have some small crisis now, I said, fantastic. Great time to make something new. Great time to make some right decision. Great time to see our plans and maybe to change them because this is, I think, the best time. Crisis, this is the really good time for rethink about your plans, about your goals, and to see how you can change it and be more efficient.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that because that segues into my next point that I wanted to share with. In the world that we're living in right now, we're in a very divisive world. There's you're in a region, you're in a circumstance where you're dealing with this every day for the past 3-4 years, and you don't even know when it's going to end, right?
Nobody knows.
And, there's other parts of the world where, the situation, although it may not be similar to yours, they're still dealing with situations that's causing, geopolitical or issues. So you and your company and you yourself have mastered the concept of crisis management, right? And I wanted to get your feedback on how important it is for entrepreneurs to deal with crisis management nowadays.
First of all, you have to be really conservative in your financial plans because if you don't have money, you will lose everything in one moment. Second point, you have to think about diversification. So I understood since start, I cannot make business in the local market. Why? No market, crisis, war, etc. So I understood that we have to be international since start. A lot of people think, okay, I'm living in US, I'm going to make a market in the US, or I'm going to make a business in US, or I'm living in New York, I'm going to make business in New York. That's fine. But if you can think in advance that you have to be diversificate your company, make it doesn't matter what's happening in the world, you have to have a work. This is important. So first of all, yes, as I mentioned, to be conservative in your financial plans, because if you will make funny decision, random decision, you will lose everything in a moment. Because if you don't have money and you cannot pay salary, people will leave in one moment. And think about diversification. In my company, I thought about diversification since start. And now we are a very diversified company because we have diversified clients, diversified sale processes, and so.
Wow. Which so now you first started the company very small. Now you have a team of 30. You have, employees, design, you have different personalities and you have to be the leader.
Top management which manage other people.
So one of the biggest things I know you're dealing with is the morale of your team, right? Because again, these are your countrymen. They are experiencing the same thing you're experiencing day in, day out. Some of them are maybe in fear for their lives, their fear for their family. They don't know, their safety, their livelihoods. So how do you keep a positive morale for your company? How do you go ahead and how do you keep the morale up with your team with everything that's going on with your country?
Yeah, I understand your question. And this is a sensitive question, honestly, for me and for my company. Because first of all, I want that my people feel protected in my company. So if they are in this company, I always tell them and my HR manager to tell all of our people, doesn't matter what's happened outside, you will have salary, doesn't matter what's happened. This is first point. Second one, I have funny rule in my company. If the explosion destroyed the window, company will put your window back. That's the second point. I think third point, I show as my example that I'm still working and I'm still in this country and I will not leave and I will be here with you in the same situation, in the same time, and the same challenge, and I will fight with the challenge. So three of this point give them real passion as and moral so high and the qualities of work so good because protection salary, as I mentioned, conservative financial plans, it's important. Then the rule that we will help doesn't matter what's happened outside. And the third, my own example that I'm working and I'm with you and I'm not chilling on the beach, I'm with you.
And that's so powerful right there, Alexander, because again, you're demonstrating how a leader, just like a general would lead his troops on a battlefield, you are doing the same thing inside of a boardroom, inside of your company. And you know, your team, these are your soldiers. These are the ones that you want to stand behind you and fight with you and everything like that. So, you know,
It's very important to be example because people have to respect you. Nobody will respect you because you have some status of CEO or doesn't matter. You have to
right.
show that you are really CEO and you can make decision and you can make crisis management and you can really show people and to show by to do something. Yes, by not just speak because a lot of people in the can speak, but I don't like speak. I like show.
Show action, absolutely, absolutely. You know, so you know, there was a story. I want your opinion, which I don't. I hope you're comfortable about. But there's a story of a client you had who was gotten in trouble. He gotten locked up, right? And then called you. He called you from prison,
Sorry, Wesley, I
right?
again lost you for a
Or
minute.
he called
Can you
you.
lost
Yeah, he
you?
called you from prison. I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure you get my
What?
question.
I got your question. I got your question
Yeah.
about the
So
jail and about on
yeah,
the
and he wanted to keep working with you. So if you could share a little bit
jail
about that testimony a little
of
bit there, yeah.
the company about some clients, but this is one of the most funniest.
I want to
So
hear this one.
we have a client. He's based in New York and he's doing their own startup. And he's like not such a young. He's 50 plus years old.
Okay.
And we have been working with this person more than 2 years, but he had some troubles in the US with taxes and building properties. So when he said, Alex, I will live in the jail, but my son will be in touch with you and continue have a project. Can you imagine this person trust me so much because he said, I will be in jail, my son will be responsible for payments. Alex, I trust you, make a plan for this project and continue work. I said, okay. And I remember the day when I walk outside and he called me. So what's going on? Because he came to the 8 months, if I'm not mistake. But after 6 months, he called me and said, hello, hello. I was, where you are you? And he said, I'm in the civility zone or something like that.
Right.
I said, wow. And I did screenshot out of this. And he said, I'm going back. I said, fantastic news when we can schedule the call. So I think this is more about the prediction. You have to be predictable partner. It's important and
Yeah.
trustful partner. So this is what in my company I try to show all our clients that doesn't matter what's going on outside. You will have your work in that deadlines which we agreed with you. And on this relationship we can build on this guarantees we can build our relationship which will be predictable and trustful, which is important because in B2B area you have to, this is not B2C, you have to build relationship.
That's key. That's key. Yeah.
Because I just got a message from one of my clients. He said, thanks Alex, you have a great team in WhatsApp.
Man, see, and this is a term that I use all of the time. Is called relationship capital,
Absolutely
right?
important.
Because you know, there's capital. When I mean by capital, and I mean in the context of currency. You know, monetary currency, like you say, is important, but that most times comes secondary behind relationships. You know, they even say it in the Bible. You know, a good name has more worth than gold. So having good relationships, networking, collaborating, and being a good steward, 9 times out of 10 gets you farther in business and in life than
Yes,
what money can provide. Do you agree?
absolutely. I think so that when you get some investment from the big investment company, they don't give you money, they give you the doors for opportunity. I think so. And so that's why a relation capital is such an important, because everything around the world builds on the relationship. You can see two presidents can have bad relationship and the country is not, they cannot trade
Right.
was the bad relationship. But if you have great relationship, this is the new door for new opportunities.
Absolutely. And of course, you have, we've noticed that, of course, with the relationship between our two countries, right? There's times it's been fragile, and there's time it has been very amicable. And we've supported, you and your country, your country, as well as the businesses in Ukraine. And obviously we're still supporting you guys because democracy is key.
Two presidents also respect each other. I think this is important. You can have a bad relationship in some short period of time, but if you respect each other, you will have the good relationship in the future, my opinion. Because of course, sometimes I had some bad conversation with the clients
Of
or some.
course, of course.
That's normal working process. But
Right.
I would say that I respect them, they respect me, because as I mentioned, we try to build relation on the quality, and this is the main point in the company. Quality is the first, then everything. If we do the bad work, no, we cannot do bad work.
So you started your business very young. Most of our viewers, they're young too. They're Gen Z, millennials. Let me ask you, did you have any idols or mentors or anybody you looked up to?
Honestly, I don't have any idols or some person who did mentorship for me. But of course, I follow some top entrepreneurs in the world. For example, I like Jeff Bezos because Amazon structure is fantastic, honestly.
Yes.
How they thought in advance, this is crazy, in my opinion. And they have a lot of interesting rules for the meetings, for the big meetings, for planning. I, of course, try to think how I can implement this in my company. But in general, no, I don't have any idols. I follow myself. I trust myself. Of course, I respect the experience of other people. I have some people also in Ukraine who can share some experience with me, but I make decision. Do I want to follow this experience or no? So this is about me maybe and about my philosophy also.
Wow. Well, because at such a young age, let me ask you, you still want to live your life, right? Because people normally your age, Alexander, let's be honest, they want to go hang out with the girls. They want to go to the club at sometimes. They want to.
I'm living a life. I bought a fast car a couple months ago.
Okay. So you still enjoy your life, right? So, okay.
Not working. I don't work Saturday, Sunday. This is my time for my life, for chilling, and of course I bought a speed car, and sometimes in the evening I can drive.
So you still able to live your life. So let me ask you a question. I know out of your team, you have people that maybe they're your peers. They're older than you, maybe 40, 50, 60. I don't know how old, but how do you sometimes, I don't know if you're comfortable in telling me, sometimes they may feel like working for somebody or working for somebody that's younger than them.
That's funny. I will answer.
How do you deal with that sometimes? Or have you experienced that? Let me ask you.
Age in my company is important. 30 years old, 30, middle.
The average age, 30 years old. Okay.
Important, yes. I have people who is 40. I have people who is 21. Important. I make decision in my company. I'm the CEO of this company. You have to respect this position.
I love
If
it.
you want to respect this position, please tell us, and you can go. Because I respect also my top management, and I said, you are the manager of this team. Make your own decision. I respect that you are a manager, and you will responsible for decision. Sure, you can consult with me. I don't want to have an impact on you, but in general, your professionalism have to be really high that people respect you, and you have to be really wild that people will not eat you.
Yes.
So, because believe me, when you work with the professional and professional will feel blood, they will eat you.
They will eat. Yeah. When they smell blood in the water, they're going to come in. Yeah, they're coming.
You have to be ready for a fight. You have to be ready to make decision. And if someone don't like this decision, they have to respect this decision. So that's about my company. All of my people respect me. all of my top management see how I responsible for the work, and they understand that doesn't matter what age I have, they have a work, and this is important. And I all do all the best that they will have the not just a work, interesting work, which can grow themselves. This is also
Now, you brought up a good point, which leads me to my next question here. It's very obvious based on our conversation and the viewers that are watching this, the war, not only the war has inspired you to start your company, but the war, if it's safe to say this, has also built character amongst
sure.
you, right? It has allowed you to have what I call a tough skin and allowed you to be an effective leader for your company. So my question is, if the war never started, if there was no war, do you think you still would have started the company at the same time?
Percent, 1,000%. Why? Because as I mentioned, in my childhood, I always wanted to be independent. I wanted to be independent in my own decision. And really honestly, I have so much fun when I manage the company and I have conversation with the half world in a day. This is really funny, honestly, because really I can speak with the Australia, I can speak with the Gulf region, I can speak with America, European continent, etc. And this is everything per day. So, and this is so fun. And of course, I started, doesn't matter what's going on, because just this time happened, and that's why I started. Of course, I thought about my company before the war, and I also had a lot of different experience. And all this experience, it was journey for my company. Yes.
Wow. So man, that's very, very, very interesting right there. So now I want to ask you a question, Alexander. When
Any
you
question?
first started this business, right? You started off with your first client. Was he what your first client, was it in Ukraine or was it international?
International client from Greece Financial
You
Direct.
okay, yes, you said that. Now most of your clients now are international. You mentioned your client in United States, Australia, Europe, and everything. How was you able to build such a global clientele?
As I mentioned, we thought in advance, we thought since start that we have to be diversificate the company, because the Ukraine country shows that if you will just on the local market, you can in one moment lose everything. So that's why I thought since start that we have to be international, and we proposed our service to different people, different companies through different channels that try to do something. And this is such a funny, because really I want to also tell you something. When I have some conversation with the businessmen in Ukraine who do some stuff, maybe tables or I don't know, something, maybe something or chairs, I ask them, why are you selling this in Ukraine? You can sell this to the different markets. They said, wow, we didn't think about this.
Yes, you expand now. Yes, yes.
People don't know that they can think maybe outside of the box. And I thought about this since start. That's why I thought to be very diversified, that we can do a lot of interesting work with a lot of interesting people. But you have to understand the culture of this country. Now I understand geography and culture very well, I think so, because Gulf region and American people, absolutely different culture, different religion, and you have to understand how to work with these people, because as I mentioned, you have to build relationship. This is
Yeah.
not a rules how to build relationship. There is, I would say, rules, but there is not flow.
Man, I love it. I love it because the way you answered that question, because you just tied everything that you spoke to, because remember you mentioned how diversification was very important. When you started your company, you learned diversification. Then we talked about relationship capital. So to now bring it to this point, you've been able to leverage these things to now build a global clientele, because you're right. If you did not see in the future to diversify, and you only concentrated in the local market, maybe your business wouldn't be so successful, right?
Yes, and it's important because, as I mentioned, when you do global market, when you work on the global market, you can earn more, you can be diversified, and more opportunities for you. This is important because if we make just a local market business, I don't know who will buy it for that price which we sell now. Because different economy, in Australian economy, American economy, European economy is such a strong economy, and people can afford this service. And there is economy which, for example, the Gulf region, the government supports so much IT companies to make something, to make startups. So we come to the Gulf region and said, guys, we are open to help you because country government support them some make subsidies
Yeah, subsidies. Right.
for different companies to make a IT business or IT startups and so a lot of whole world speak English. So if you
Yeah,
speak, you have your believe me. I when I started, I just had myself, my PC, and that's it. Nothing.
that's it.
So I'm still working at home because we don't have office now because all people now remote work. But
Right.
in general, I have still now my chair, my table, and my PC, and everything moves around that. That's it. I have
Wow.
the same opportunities as everyone, honestly.
And that's beautiful. So, and you have a business model that you could go anywhere. You could travel to Greece. You could travel. Bring your laptop as long as you have internet. Your laptop. You're ready to go.
Sure, I have just to have a laptop, and I have also money in internet, like PayPal, etc. So I need just one laptop. Maybe okay, no laptop, internet. That's enough.
That's it.
Yeah, honestly, because I know how to manage the team. I know how to charge the money. I know how to sell the service because we already built the right sale channels. And yes, so I did a team who manage each other. This is important. I can not work if I don't want. I cannot work, but I cannot understand how not to work. So that's
Right.
I'm working and I'm pushing and I'm achieve results and I'm planning and I ask to make plans. So yes.
So what's in the future for DreamX?
Honestly, I told all of my team we have to be ready now for a fight with the companies who already do the same 10 years. So now we are fighting for the top position in the Google with the companies who spend in the CEO a lot of money. And they said, one
Dang.
day we're going to be first. So our plans to, how to say, to be better than our competitors who spent years, a lot of times and money
Right.
in service. So I don't want to make a company like full cycle development because this is too complicated. I want to be companies who is the focusing on one area and such it good. Because if
Okay.
you will take the full cycle of development in IT area, there is the project requirements, companies who can prepare requirements for you, companies who can make design, who can make development, who can make marketing, who can make testing, who can make deploying, and so many different stuff. So I would say in my company, we want to focusing on the one special area. In this
Okay.
area, we want to be super professional and we want to be top of the top companies in the areas or regions where it's IT such it high and like such it high, I would say. For example, San Francisco, Gulf region, some Sydney, etc. And our plans to grow maybe up to 100 people and with these 100 people maybe generate $5 million.
My God. Hey man, I love it. I love it.
This is enough for this company, and then we can say thank you. We will have money, we will have experience, and we can like to make something new. I'm open. I think my own plans in the future is gonna be venture investor. I
Oh,
want to see my really because nobody invested in me, and now I earn good money. But I see big potential now in a lot of people, and I don't have so much resources. But in general, in the future, my main goal to make right investment in the right young people, which I see big potential.
I love that because, like you said, although you're self-made and you didn't have any investments in the beginning, stewardship is ultimately what life is about. So you're to be able to get into venture capital and help young entrepreneurs because you understand what they go through because you've been through it. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to be able to make the path of entrepreneurship easy for them. And I commend you for that. I
So
commend you
that's
for that.
my goal, and I think my goal for a company to grow it up to 100 people. I don't think that we can make a company 1,000 people because, as I mentioned, we are not full cycle. We
Right.
are just one special area. Whereas this is area a lot of companies needs. We want to be in this area up to grow 100 people. And important, business about money, not about people. If you can make $1 million with 5 people, make it.
Right.
Because people think I need 1,000 people and you earn zero or minuses because you have 1,000 people.
You have too many people. Right.
Because
More
worry about
headache.
profit is important. So I think about the profit, but also as I mentioned, we also think not just about the profit. Now we think also about the people, diversification, risks, conservative plans. If something happens, we have to support people because this is terrible. If I cannot imagine how companies do not support people, because in my company, all my people know that if something happened critical, we will be in touch.
Wow. I love it, man. Man, this has been a very fascinating interview, Alexander. I think I'm not going to say I think. I know for certain you've given tremendous value to all of the viewers on how to overcome crisis. Next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this episode at this moment right now, the next time you want to complain about your business, things are tough and things are not going right, I want you to rewind this episode here and listen to this story, listen to everything that was discussed today. And it gives you a better perspective on, sometimes you have to consider yourself lucky because you have other people that's in worse situations like Alexander, and look what they have been able to make for themselves. So now, before we end the show, one last question I want to ask you, Alexander. If there's one piece of advice you can share with the audience on how to build their blueprint, and it could be anything, one piece of general advice, what piece of advice you would share with them?
Going to be such a funny advice.
Okay.
I always make one advice for people. Don't listen anyone. Just listen yourself. My advice, don't listen me, listen yourself. It's very important advice because a lot of people think that all around people around the world know how to make better than themselves. I think you have to listen yourself, listen your heart, have passion. This is also, you can see when you start new business, a lot of people come and says, maybe you don't need it. This is the big risk. My point, don't listen anyone, listen yourself. I always suggest one suggestion. Do not listen anyone.
Wow. I love it. I love it. You are the true example of a maverick, a self-made, successful entrepreneur. I wish you nothing but the best and tremendous success. I know DreamX one day is going to be reality bigs.
Follow your dream, follow your heart.
I love it. I love it. Before we wrap up the show, I'm pretty sure the audience, they're highly motivated by your story and by everything you shared. A lot of them probably want to stay connected with you. They want to follow you and see your evolution. If you could share with the audience, where can they follow you?
Honestly, as I mentioned, I don't listen anyone. This is important. And I understood, okay, I have such an interesting philosophy of the life. A lot of people says, you have a really inspired story. I thought, okay, I think I have to write a book. So I started work on a book, and the name of the book, Self-Made, which see not standard view on opportunities. This is going to be in the future. I don't know when I finish, but I'm working on it. But if someone wants to follow me, they can follow me on LinkedIn with the same name as here, Alexandr Korshykov. They can watch our website, dreamxweb.com. All information there. And I'll always post something on my LinkedIn of some other updates or my personal updates. Yeah. So awesome. If someone wants to follow me or connect me, please, I'm super open. Honestly, I'm super open to have any conversation with the people or make some suggestion if they need.
Send him a follow him on LinkedIn, because, as Americans, as the leader of democracy, we stand side by side with you and your country. We give you our ultimate support. We wish you nothing but the best and success as well, too. And I'm truly inspired by your story. I'm truly inspired how you've been able to build such an incredible organization and provide opportunities for others. So you are the epitome of how to overcome crisis and challenges. And of course, that was the prime message I wanted to share in today's episode. And I'm glad that we have been able to have this discussion. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please check out this episode. If you watched it one time, share it with a friend, share it with a family member. Even if you have a colleague or an associate that's going through something professionally, share this episode with them. Let them know that, hey, here is an interview of someone who's been able to overcome the biggest obstacles that most people cannot imagine. And if he's able to do it, guess what? You're able to do it as well too. So with that, thanks for tuning in today's episode. I want to wish everybody a great day. And always, I'm going to catch you on the flip side. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep, Wesley Paul with Blueprint. His guests are exclusive. Get on and tune in and then learn some new tips about credit, finance, investment. A nice chance to get rich and buy land. Flip it, quick 9 bands. Learn all the skills from Wes, he did it. Learn how to build successful business. Run up a mill and get the digits. Run up a mill. Look, safe place where guests are speaking. Based off financial freedom. All facts, no cap, believe it. Podcast, you have to see it.